up or otherwise screwed up.
I know.
Everybody can hear
Are
everybody
we
first
actually
try.
getting together for a game? It doesn't seem like it should be a game if it's not. The audio's not screwed up.
That's right.
No, Roll 20, back a couple months before, back in, I don't know, March or so, they came out with the new beta audio and video. And that right out the jump as a beta worked far better than the normal stuff we were using. Because you guys remember every game we played, it was constant, with the
Yeah,
audiovisual
it was pretty
issues.
bad.
But they seem to have gotten it figured out, um, which is which is good. So, uh, Achtung Cthulhu. This is a game that I stalked for a long time, and there's a lot of Cthulhu games out there. I remember playing Call of Cthulhu back in the early '90s. Um, if you guys aren't familiar with this game, it's a 2D20 system by Modiphius, which is the same basic system as the Conan game we played, which I'd still love to get back to at some point. I mean, I've got hundreds of dollars worth of books to that game just sitting there collecting dust. But um, it's Achtung Cthulhu is different from other Cthulhu role playing games. It is the covert actions of the pulp spy novels of the 30s and 40s, combined with World War II, combined with Indiana Jones, combined with H.P. Lovecraft's writings. It's all mashed up into this one pulpy adventure game. Um,
I believe the word you're looking for is awesome.
yeah,
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 that's
no doubt. It's I'm really excited by this game, and I've played one test game with my kids, and because they have a kind of an introductory module just to help you get the system down, and it was really interesting. Um, one of the I will tell you a couple things that I've figured out already is that knowing languages is very important because you guys are going to play on some level covert operatives. To give you a brief explanation of the background of this game, yeah, you guys should see the main screen, which is just an image of the player's guide. Yeah. Um, and
Hmm.
it says at the top, the secret war has begun. And what it amounts to is, oh, and I forgot the other thing it adds in is kind of the whole Castle Wolfenstein effect. If you've played any of the Wolfenstein video games, um,
nice.
the Nazis are pushing hard for occult forces to help them in the war. They have a couple different uh, I'm sorry, factions within the Nazi organization that are called the Black Sun and Nachtwolfe. Black Sun is more occult and magic oriented. Nachtwolfe is um, uh, trying to use ancient technologies, from Atlantis and stuff like that, and alien technologies, all of it to advance the cause. The the British were the first to realize that these covert organizations existed within Germany, and they created Section M, which is kind of a play on their Section D military intelligence. That Section M works to uh, introduce their own magic and occult practices to help the common soldier on the battlefield, but also to help combat Black Sun and Noctwolf. And the United States in the mid 30s came up with something they call Project Majestic, which works to some extent with the OSS. Um, the Americans don't really have spellcasters. They focus more on psychics, whereas the Brits and the Germans focus on the ancient occult stuff. And you can imagine that the Nazis tend to lean towards the how shall we say, the darker stuff. Let's put it that way. Um, so where's my player's guide? I got it here somewhere. There it is. I have. Let me get to the Heroes Are Forged section. I have created 4 character sheets. You should each have access to one. The names are just a gobbledygook of letters. Um, you should be able to click on it, and it brings up just the basic character sheet, which we will be going through and building characters. There is at the top. There's the character sheet tab. Then there's the bio and info tab, which you can edit to change your character's name and upload an avatar. Which, by the way, I got something for you guys on that. Let me get to it. Um, I have kind of a love-hate relationship with AI art. Being an author and employing artists and pay artists real money, I'm not a big fan of using AI art commercially, but for our purposes, it works out real well. I'm going to post a link in the chat for you guys. This is the Wombo AI art generator, and I find that if you want to try to create an avatar for your character, you can use the Ink V3 art style and create things like this. Why didn't it drag over? Why is it not dragging over? There it is. Um, and I made a couple others. Let me see here. Not something you have to use, but if it interests you in terms of coming up with a portrait for your character, it definitely has some advantages. I had a couple
So what you're
others. I don't know
saying,
where they are.
so what you're saying, Marty,
Very
is
cool.
no pre-gens for this, right?
Yeah, correct. That's what today is. We're session zeroing this.
Okay, cool.
I don't foresee us getting into playing today.
Right.
Kyle, I know you're on a time constraint, and that's fine. Because honestly, I have so much stuff going on. I really want to stay away from the 3, 4, 5 hour alien sessions that we used to have. I can't commit that kind of time. Um, but these scenarios, from what I can tell, are like 4 hour scenarios. They're kind of, if you're playing 2 hour sessions, you should be able to knock one out in 2 games. They're not really meant to be these big long things. So um,
Very cool.
yeah. Anyway, have a question? No? All quiet? So, um, character generation in this game, and I'm going to drag this to my other screen over here. There's a couple ways you can do character generation, and it has a set of random tables to create your characters with. Um, and there are pros and cons to this. Um, the pro the one of the pros to it that I really like is that because you're rolling random d20s to determine these aspects about your character, it creates it can oftentimes create a character that is very well rounded, and you have to look at these different characteristics of the character to kind of put together your backstory, and sometimes the characteristics are a little contradictory. Well, real people are like that too. We're not all the archetypal barbarian and paladin from D&D. Real people are like that, and World War II was fought and won by just guys. Most of these people weren't, prior to World War II, were not necessarily heroic people. They were just people, working for a living, living life, kids coming out of high school, stuff like that. So that's kind of a cool aspect to it, the flip side to that is that your starting characters quite often, not all the time, but quite often, aren't real good at anything. they they usually have one or two bright spots, but even then, they're not really fantastic at it. Um, that's okay to an extent because the game has an advancement system that's really easy, and your characters will advance quickly. And there's some currencies in play that the characters have access to that can help offset those things. Like that, when you get to that moment where you just have to succeed at this, you cannot afford to fail under any circumstances. There's currencies in the game that help you do that. So the when we did the random system when I did the intro adventure with my kids, we just did the random system generation system, and we had only one character that was not well rounded at all. We had one character that just generated a beat stick. He's not real smart. He's not really subtle. He's not really good at anything except literally hitting things with a bat. Um, and it just is what it is. But the other characters were a little more well rounded. Um, so the question is, if we want to use the random system, uh, with the understanding that you guys can do an occasional re-roll if we get something that just does not work at all, um, uh, or if we want to do some kind of hybrid where we do it, um, partially random and partially not, or what? I mean, you tell me what you guys think you want to do. Keeping in mind you've never played the game before and you really have no idea.
So is that when you do the random?
So I was thumbing through the book, and I have. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Kyle.
Go ahead, Jim. Oh, I was just saying.
Okay.
I was thumbing through the book, and I have some like loose character ideas, but I'm not married to one thing or the other. If we go random or otherwise.
Okay.
Are we for the random that's random for career or all
Yeah.
that
So
stuff too?
what it is it's the if you're looking at your character sheet, for example, um, there we go. At the top you've got name, nationality, rank, archetype, background, characteristic. Um, so the nationality, the archetype, the background, and the characteristic are all a random d20 roll. And what you are determines how your stats and skills get adjusted. Scrolling down the character sheet a little bit, you've got just over halfway, you've got the attributes: agility, brawn, coordination, insight, reason, and will. And then below that, you have skills with focuses. So your random rolls will help dictate what changes on the character sheet. So, for example, let's go to let's just start with the obvious one. Let's look at archetype. Scrolling. There it is. So, like for instance, one of the archetypes is investigator, and another archetype is soldier. And why does my PDF do this? It's very annoying. My PDF, as I'm scrolling, blurs really badly, and I have to stop and wait for it to clear up. So, like the investigator, for example, gets, if you roll that, gets a point in agility, a point in coordination, 2 points in insight, 2 points in reason. Which makes sense. He's a more mental character. The soldier gets a point in agility, 2 points in brawn, which makes sense. He's more physical. So, we can certainly do something, and as I'm sorry, and as the rolls continue on, like for instance, you roll your background. The background is exactly what it is exactly what it sounds like from the standpoint of it's kind of where you come from. It's a mixture of your upbringing and your pre-war profession is the best way to put it. And then the characteristic is something that's distinct, unusual, or extraordinary about you in some way. And all those things have an impact on the stats and skills. So the
I mean, since none of us have really a grounding in, what might work, maybe pure random would be all right. I mean,
That's fine. Well, and the other thing is
I don't know what you guys think. I mean, I don't mind. It could provide interesting play.
Well, I've done a little read through of the book, and like I said, I have a general feel of what I might like to do, but I'm open for anything.
well, and the other thing is that in between adventures is when at the end of adventures when you receive XP, and in between adventures is when you spend it um, to increase attribute skills, by focuses, talents, whatever. And we'll explain all that later. They also have an optional rule that I really like, where you can untrain one thing and retrain something else. Um, and I
How do
think,
you untrain?
well,
I
I
understand.
yeah, I
forgot
think
how to
the
drive a
idea
car.
behind that is to help number
Yeah.
one offset the randomness that sometimes doesn't work.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess you could say there's a real life there's a real life uh, uh, example out there. For instance, I was very, very good at math in high school and college, but now at age, 45, God, I'm 45 years old. Now at age 45, and having been in sales and especially the car business so long, if you ask me to go back and do differential equations, I'm like, shit, I don't remember any of this. So, anyway. Um,
Marty, my only concern with random stuff is while I'm fine with it, I think it's can be quite funny and interesting and all that stuff. But like for as far as like a party dynamic, if all the roles have been randomly created, it can lead to like a janky party where we're really good at only one thing.
It can.
So
It can.
I,
And I've
you know,
listened to some playthroughs where that's
Right.
happened. There was one party where they had no one who was stealthy at all. And it just turned into one of these it just turned into a Laurel and Hardy skit every time they tried to do something quiet. It just didn't work.
yeah. So
Um,
maybe the best thing would be to kind of guide the randomness if we're going to go random path and say, okay, well, Sharif's already a stealthy character, so I rolled stealth, but maybe mulligan that one so we get a little variety, or
Well,
you
maybe
know how
what
to
we
do it.
do. Maybe what we do is go ahead and
Lost Kyle's feed.
yeah, he said he's going to try Roll20 on his tablet. I think he's having some
okay.
trouble.
What I was going to say is maybe we just do the random thing and see what we've got. Eyeball each other's characters, and if we see some glaring
We
party,
can go back and adjust something.
we can adjust something based on what makes sense.
Yeah, and I
Uh,
think one thing that we can really do to help avoid that from happening is that when we roll up, say the archetypes, if two people get the same archetype, just someone re-rolls it. That way that should help minimize a lot of that, I think. But then yeah,
that
we
I
can
can
go back and look at it.
that makes sense to me too because there's only four of us,
Yeah.
um, so we wouldn't want to have two or three guys the same archetype.
No, you get three soldiers.
Yeah, let me ask a different question, and that is because of the way our alien universe worked out, we had to be careful often of metagaming where stuff we know in our personal life affects the reasonableness of something we're hearing. Um, you know what I mean? Um, my engineering background and my radiological nuclear engineering background in real life often made some of the descriptions in the alien world complete Bravo Sierra. Or it informed actions I might take that someone wouldn't necessarily take. So we had to watch out for metagaming from real world into this world. Do you see, looking at some of these skills and other stuff, do you see anything like that?
Not really. I don't think it'll be
Okay.
that much of a problem. I mean,
Because,
because it's also a big part of the thing to keep in mind is that um, even though starting out your characters may be um, somewhat ordinary in a lot of respects, your characters are expected to be heroes and very much in a pulpy sense. So this game is to an extent over the top, and there's things that we don't necessarily need to explain. They just are what they are, and how
Okay.
did he pull that off? It doesn't really matter. He's a hero from 1939. It is what it is.
well, and the other thing is wanting to do a thing and being able to do it. That's where you get into the D20 system and the tests.
Correct. Correct.
Okay. All right.
All right. So, Kyle, are you doing better?
Yeah, yeah. It's just roll 20 is always a pig when
Oh,
it
yeah.
comes to performance. So
Sorry about that.
uh, I'm good as long as you can hear me. Okay. I just don't want to delay the
Yeah,
video
no,
or the
we're
audio.
we're fine. All right.
Yeah, we had to drop audio
Cool.
last time for a lot of the games, but I mean video for a lot of the games. But it worked out okay if you just have to go to audio. That's
Yeah,
good
we
too.
had
If it
these.
helps you.
You're right. We had these really weird scenarios where we would be going just fine. Then all of a sudden we had to kill video. It just would not work at all.
Yeah,
It does
not a
seem to
big
help
deal.
performance somewhat if you just do audio. So if it gets to be too much of a problem, you can try it. Maybe stabilize your connection a little bit.
It might.
And
Yeah.
I was having weird performance issues between.
Yeah, no, actually, I hid all your videos on my end, so I'm doing better.
Okay, good,
Okay.
good.
Yeah,
I'm
you were
playing
on
Just
a
an
golf
little
ad.
later,
bit of a
so
delay.
Would it help if we shut down our video? Would it help him
yeah.
if
It
we did that?
it might.
Okay, let's see. I think that's in the options, right? In the settings, audio and video. Yeah, that's where it is.
Yeah, they'll probably
Um,
reboot you.
Yeah,
Just
maybe here or
admin
there.
note, Marty. I'll just if you see me disappear from the screen, it doesn't mean I'm gone. I have two puppies that sometimes get into shit, so I'll still be listening.
all right.
I'll
No
be
You
problem.
guys
listening
hear
if
me
I
okay without the
disappear.
video?
Yeah, yeah. I got you
Yeah.
fine. All right.
Yep.
So let's do this then. Looking at the character sheet. Um, Looking at the character sheet, you all should have 3 fortune points, and all of your attributes should be set at 6. It should have defaulted to that. If it didn't, please adjust it. And then all your skills should be default 0. Um, so we're just gonna start it. We're gonna start at the beginning. If I could get a D20 roll from everybody.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, there we go.
Well, yeah, baby.
Yeah.
Oh, you rolled a 20? Sorry, your character has birth defects and
Jeez. Well, what we'll do is,
aliens for you.
yeah, that's right.
Oh, sorry, you're infected by aliens. But it's a 20. Yeah, it doesn't work that way in aliens. Sorry.
So Thermo, Marty VP also rolled a 9. You actually rolled 2 dice. You rolled a 19 on the first one, and a 19
Yeah.
and the 20 are the same thing. So we'll just use your second roll of 11, if that's
Oh,
all right.
I don't care. It's just yeah, it's the way I clicked it. So
No problem. Um, So I'm just going to go left to right on my screen because it's easier for me. Jim, you rolled a 13. That,
I
sir,
did.
you can put in your archetype investigator.
Oh, excellent.
And how that impacts you. Oh, shoot. My Photoshop is not open. Give me 1 second. Let me get that.
Where's my pen? Oh, there it is.
Um, how that affects you, Jim, is your your agility goes up 1,
Okay.
your coordination goes up 1, your insight and your reason each go up 2.
Okay.
Um, you get now moving down to the skills. You get 2 points in academia.
Okay.
You get 1 point in engineering.
Hmm.
2 points in medicine.
Okay.
2 in observation, and 1 point each in persuasion and stealth.
Okay.
Oh, and this is something that I need to explain. In the skills section, there is a in the skills section. There's to the right of the rating is something called focuses.
Yeah.
Focuses impact your target number when you make a roll, and I'm having some technical difficulties. I'm sorry. I don't know what this thing is doing and why it's doing it, but it's making my life very difficult. Give me 1 second. I'm sorry. Um, the 2d20 system is very straightforward. Every time you make a skill roll, you are rolling 2 dice. Okay, rolling 2d20. And the system does it for you automatically. And the target number is a combination of an attribute with a skill, as determined by the GM. So let's just say it's a ranged combat attack. You're firing a gun at somebody, which is just coordination plus your fighting. Which, if the total of those two things is 12, it rolls 2d20. Anything 12 or less is a success. A 1 is 2 successes. What the focus does is the focus raises the critical number up to the same level as the skill. So if you're firing a 1911-45, which is a handgun, and you have a focus in handgun with a fighting skill of 3, then anything 3 or less it gets you a bonus success, if that makes sense. It's just to show you it's just to show something that you're particularly good at. And the reason why I'm bringing all that up is because you get you get to pick 2 focuses, Jim, and you can just check the
Right.
box on your character sheet. You can pick any 2 focuses from academia, medicine, or observation.
Got it. And other ones, there's no focus, or like the ones in engineering, you get one. But
Correct. You
no
don't get a
focus.
focus in those. You just pick one from. You just pick 2 focuses from academia, medicine, or observation.
So the ones I have two in. Okay. And you get
Um,
two of those, huh?
you get more later. I think
No,
you
I
get.
know, but I'm trying to. I guess I missed the mechanic. So if you have a one in your rank in that skill, you don't get to pick a focus. But once you get to two, then you get to pick two of the focuses. Is
No,
that
not
right?
necessarily. Not
Oh, it's
necessarily.
just
Yeah.
just okay. So that's done. Okay, so academia, medicine, and observation. Got it. Okay.
Darn it. Why did this thing. Where did that go? And then there's one more thing, and I'm dropping a file or a picture um, into Roll 20. You get a talent
Okay.
from the list that I just dropped. Do you see that?
I do. It's kind of small. Let me see.
Yeah, blow it up or
Could
do
you
whatever you
could
got to
you
do.
move it up on the screen a little bit? There you go. Thanks.
Whoops. I lost it.
Otherwise, I'd have to move
Hold on.
all my thumbnails of you guys.
Oh, I forgot I have a mouse. Okay, here we go. So these are the talents, right?
Right. You get to pick
Oh,
one
I
of
see.
those.
Where does the
Okay. Do you want to move on to other people while I do this, or
Yeah, that's
where's the
fine.
talent? Where's the talent go?
It goes on the second
Oh,
page.
second tab.
Yeah, equipment and
Equipment and
talents.
talents.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
So when you go to that second page, Jim, you just click you just look down at talent, you click add, and then you can copy and paste the name, the keywords, and the effect into those boxes.
got it?
Got it? All right.
Yep.
Okay, so moving left to right, so that brings us to Marty VP. We're going with what, an 11 for you?
Yeah.
All right, which makes you a what? What does that make you? Do, 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 do. Makes you an infiltrator.
Ooh.
So,
Okay.
your
Look at you being all
attributes.
ninja about it.
Yeah, that's right.
I like it.
You get 2 in agility, 1
So I
in
can. So I increase my agility from a 6 to
2
an
and 8.
8.
Yep.
Okay.
1 in brawn,
Okay.
2 in coordination,
Gotcha.
and 1 in insight.
Okay.
And then your skills, you gain 2 in athletics, 1 in engineering, 2 in fighting, 1 in observation, 2 in stealth, and 1 in survival.
Wow.
And then you pick 2 focuses from athletics, fighting, and stealth. 2 total between all 3.
In athletics, fighting, and stealth,
Correct.
I don't. It's not 2 each. It's 2 total.
2 total, correct.
Okay. All right.
All right. And then you get to pick a talent. Well, you have the player's guide, don't you?
I do.
So if you go to the infiltrator page, you'll see the 3 talents you get to pick from.
Okay.
Between acrobatic, assassination, and silent step.
Gotcha.
So I'll let you do that, and I'm going to move over to Sharif.
Okay.
Sharif, you rolled a, where is it?
14.
14. So you are an occultist.
Sweet.
um,
You will call me by my proper name, Professor Mobius.
oh God. You gain 1 point in brawn,
Okay.
2 points in will. And here's where it gets a little interesting. You get either 2 points in insight and 1 point in reason, or the other way around.
I do not have enough information to know which one I should favor.
I believe that is absolutely true. So, insight, in terms of the raw attributes themselves, insight is, I guess the best way to put it, it's kind of a raw, natural gut feeling or observation, or a general basic intrinsic understanding of the workings of the universe. In a lot of ways is the best way to put it. Reason is more intellectual. Okay. Reason is more, as the word would seem to indicate, your ability to logic through things, and is probably a little more basic knowledge related. It's almost like the difference between intelligence and wisdom in D&D.
I was picking up on that. What are the insight-related skills versus reason-related skills?
One of the most common ones people do is insight observation, whereas reason tends to be a lot more related to academia. for example. Now, there are some mix and matching of skills, and that's where this game can get really interesting and complex. And some of that you guys are going to have to learn by playing it, is the best way to put it, because the number of examples I could give could go on and on forever. However, where you're concerned um, as an occultist, you you will be you pick when you pick one of your three talents, you're going to be a spellcaster. Okay,
Okay.
and the
Okay.
question becomes that we kind of have to answer now is what kind of spellcaster you're going to be. Are you going to be a character from are you going to be a European character, a character from the old world, maybe from the UK, that is drawing on Celtic powers, for example, or are you going to be an American character, which is more psychic related? Because that will determine whether you want to go with insight or reason. Um, being a spellcaster is a little complex at first in this game, and maybe this might help make you. And one thing, I'm sorry, one thing you guys should know about casting spells is magic has a cost. Okay, every time you cast a spell, you will potentially damage or drain yourself. Just so you know, but I've seen Magic do in the one game session I've played with my kids. I've seen Magic do some pretty damn impressive things. So it's when it works, it's pretty epic. Um, when it doesn't work, it kind of sucks. But
Well, what are the effects of the like? What how would I? Um, what
generally,
should I
you
keep in
take
mind between the
damage.
difference between spells and psychic powers? What's
There's really not a difference. It's just a flavor.
okay? Well, then I
Psychic.
guess I'll do spells.
Okay. Spells are more. It's me, like I said. It's basically flavor. Spells you're drawing on the occult powers of old, eldritch forces, stuff like that. Whereas a
Yeah,
psychic, you're just using brain power to move objects
they're
and
both
people.
cool, but I think the spells are more in keeping with the whole Cthulhu thing. So,
I don't disagree. So in that case, why
so
don't we?
insight or reason? Which one
I
is
would put two
spells?
points in insight and 1 point in reason.
Okay, so done.
Okay. All right. So skills. 1 point in observation, two in persuasion, two in resilience, one in stealth, and then you get a choice between two in academia and one in survival, or the other way around.
Okay,
All right. Um, next,
and the focuses. I'm gonna need a refresher on how to pick focuses.
that's
You
fine.
get
So basically,
you get
when you pick a focus in a skill, like say, because you get to pick two focuses from any two from academia, persuasion, resilience, and survival. So you can pick two from the four skills. I mean, two total between all of them. So, for example, if you in academia picked the occultism focus, uh, anytime you're rolling an academic skill check regarding to occultism, your chance of getting critical successes is higher because it's based on your academia rank.
and is
Um,
linguistics a chance to know the language,
linguistics focus. Let me
or is
that.
it just like ancient written stuff? Like
No,
how
no, no,
does
no,
the
no. You're on it. Let me. Do, 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 do,
so
do,
it's only stuff that you have a two in can you pick a focus on of?
Um,
Is that what I'm
in
hearing?
terms of character generation, that's correct.
Right. So like if you have a one, like my observation's one, I can't pick like sight or whatever. It's
Correct.
only if I have a two. Okay.
Correct. Linguistics, um,
Well,
having
you know, it's
points.
okay. It's okay. Don't waste too much time with that because I'll get a copy of the PDF and I'll look it up myself.
Okay.
I don't need to pick it right this second.
Okay. All right. Well, just don't forget you get two.
Okay.
Um,
Well, three, right? Because persuasion, resilience are two, and academia is two. But those are the only
well,
ones
no,
I
you
have
only
two.
get to pick two though.
Oh, you
in
only
the
get a total of 2.
correct
Okay,
in
okay.
this
It's
part of
not
character generation
so it's not if you have a 2, you get a focus. It's you get to pick a focus in 2
from where
skills
you
that
have a
are at
two.
least 2. Okay,
Correct.
gotcha.
Correct. Okay.
Can you pick 2 from one discipline, or
In
must they
this
be
in this
separate?
part of the character generation, yes, you can, because it
Okay,
just says you pick 2 focuses from those skills. It doesn't say you can't pick 2 in one. So
okay,
if you had a 2 in academia and 1 in linguistics and occultism, you could do that.
okay, gotcha.
All right, Kyle.
Was there talents also? Sorry to
Oh
interrupt.
shit, you're right. You're
Yeah.
right. I skipped that completely. Hold on. Yes, I'm
Sorry,
sorry.
Kyle. Just checked you into the
No
boards,
worries.
bro.
Hold on 1 second. Let me
It's fine.
get
I'm,
into.
I'm taking a look at the book anyway. So
Why did that not work? That did not do what I wanted it to do. I hate it when it doesn't do what I want it to do. And I tried to get some of this stuff readily available for you guys, and that's not working at all. Damn it. Um, but I was having trouble uploading PDFs of things, so I wasn't able to get a whole lot. And I'm not having success getting this to do what I need to do. There it goes. All right, perfect. Control C, Control V. Let me adjust that so it's a little more legible. Coming up. Bear with me.
Take your time, Marty. Ain't no thing.
File export. Occultist. Okay. And where did it go? There it is. Here we go. Coming up.
Thank you.
Let me move it to where you can probably see it. Is that readable? Legible?
Yes,
Good.
yes, quite. Thank you.
So, the yeah, I mean that's what the different talents are. The price to pay is interesting because it upgrades your ability to do damage, but it also increases how much damage that you will take. The reason I bring that up is because if you are going to do that, there's an adjustment to the character that we specifically need to make, and I'm going to figure out what it is in just a moment. I believe it is called. Oh, hi, Cat. Um, if you choose to take the price to pay talent, let me just tell you up front that when we get to getting your next talent, um, you're going to want a very particular one that increases your courage, which is basically your soak against mental damage. Because a price to pay, your spells do better, but it's gonna beat on you a little bit.
Sounds like maybe that's not the one for a first playthrough, maybe.
Eh,
Or maybe it is. I don't know. Where's courage anyway? Oh, I see it there. Okay. Yeah, it's at 0 right now. So,
yeah, and it will go up a little bit by the time we finish with this.
do these talents unlock special spells? Like the summoner unlock a spell tree that's unique to the summoner, or do they
Um,
all share the same spells?
no, they pretty much all share the same spells, just with summoner specifically. Um, uh, if you have the ability to summon, there's a number of different summoning spells, and not all of them necessarily summon a creature. Sometimes they summon an object, but the advantage to the summoner is that if you are summoning a creature, you can spend momentum, which is one of your in-game currencies, to make sure the creature is obedient to you. That can be important because if you're going to be summoning things from the outer dark and they're not necessarily obedient to you, that could go badly. Some of those things get really nasty.
This is a hard because it's one of those things when you haven't played, you don't know how useful any of these things are. It sounds like having courage is useful. Sounds like having summoned creatures listen to you is useful. Sounds like being able to
It,
hurt yourself more to make your spells more powerful is more useful. So I don't know,
it's
like in terms of practical.
it's
I
all
believe it or not.
useful. From what
I'm.
little I've played and from what I've listened to, it's all useful. It just
It sounds like a cult scholar might be for like a magician that has no courage. That might be a good. It might be a good one because it gives you courage points, and I have 0. And you say that's the mechanic that makes it so you can withstand
correct.
like psychic damage or whatever. Oof.
Correct.
All right, I guess I'll pick that one.
Okay. All
He
right.
says unsure of
Hey
himself.
Marty, I'm sorry. Before you go on, Kyle, I'm looking at the talents PDF that you had uploaded. I'm not seeing the part that you keep putting up for the different archetypes.
No, it's
Is that
because these are the talents that you specifically get at the time of creating your character as part of the archetype, and you
all right?
can't go back and get these talents later. This is that talent PDF I've got there is a general list of talents that you can pick up throughout the game.
Got it. All right, I lost the other one. I don't know where that's at.
I can bring it back to
There's
you.
only like 3. Yeah, sorry.
No, it's okay. It's
Let
all
me
right.
take a
It's fine.
screenshot of
It's
it or
fine.
something.
It's a little more challenging when you don't have a book to just pass around to your buddies.
Yeah,
Let's
I'll probably
see.
pick it up on.
You're an
Uh,
investigator, right?
yeah,
All right, it's uploading now, and you should be able to. Well, it says it's uploading. Come on, today'd be nice. Jeezy Pete, do you see that on the screen?
I do. I'm
Okay,
gonna
you
zoom
can
in.
manipulate it as you need to.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Kyle, you rolled a soldier, sir.
Yeah.
Um, and
All
if
right.
if you've got the book, you
So
might
I'll
have
tell you this.
already made
I'm
your
looking at the
adjustments.
book.
Yeah,
Yeah, I haven't put it in yet. I just want to confirm that I was the soldier.
you are.
But I have it right here in front of me, so I could.
Yep. Yeah. So yeah, point in agility, 2
I
brawn, 2
will.
coordination, 1 insight.
Sounds good. Thanks for bearing with me with the audio issue. I will bring a better computer next time.
It's no problem, man. Um, and so then so you've got your attributes and skill options right there. You've got your focus options right
Mm-hmm.
there as well, and then you've got 3 different talents available to you, um, which
Okay.
I don't think. Yeah, I haven't had a soldier yet, so I really don't know how the. I just opened up my 3D print software. Whoops. Let's get rid of that. Sorry about that. Um, Interesting. Snapshot. When an enemy within medium range of you fails a skill test to move through difficult terrain, you can inflict damage dice equal to your fighting skill. You cannot spend ammo to make it a salvo attack or spend momentum to increase the damage of the stress roll. Well, that's interesting. Um,
So I'm thinking that he's going to be like a gunner on a tank crew. I think that's
oh,
kind of
cool.
the what I'm leaning towards, like a heavy weapons guy. Yeah.
A man after my own heart. Um, I'm absolutely convinced at this point that I might have been a tanker in another life. I got involved in World of Tanks years ago, and it took me down a whole rabbit hole. Um,
Awesome.
yeah. All right. Do you have any questions from the standpoint of the archetype part of your character generation, since you have it all right in front of you?
I don't. It seems pretty straightforward
All right.
from
Cool.
here.
Very good. Very good. All right. So now we will go to the next step, which is the easiest step of all of them, which is your nationality. Um, Now, this is one where I don't necessarily feel the need to make somebody roll, if that makes sense. Uh, because I don't I don't really know how much it really matters. The nationality does affect the languages you start with, and obviously it's helpful if everyone in the party speaks the same language. I will say this: as we move through this character generation, make sure you guys do have characters that can speak other languages. Because we're going to be starting in August of 1939, right before war's officially
Okay.
declared. And I will tell you, your first mission takes place in Vienna, Austria. And what do they speak there? German. So,
Gotcha.
um, uh, but your options, the options in terms of the list are Australia, Canada, Czechoslovakia, France, India, Norway, Poland, UK, US, and the USSR. I don't really care what you pick.
Can you
I
say that again,
Yeah,
Marty? What were
yeah.
the options?
Uh, well, this says common nationalities: Australia, Canada, Czechoslovakia, France, India, Norway, Poland, UK, US, and the Soviet Union. Um, However, I mean, I listened to one playthrough where one of the characters was German. You know, he built his character as he built his character as a German Jew that whose family fled the country in the early 30s. So, I'm not really tied to these things as long as you can make it make sense in your backstory. But the reason it's important is looking at your character sheet. You've got a block for nationality, and then um, you have a there should be a language block somewhere. Is there no language block? Oh, look at that. On the print character sheet, there's a language block, but I don't see it on the Roll20 sheet. Is it on the second page? Cancel. Is it on the second page? No. Huh. Well. All right. Well, then put it in. Put it in the personal. There's a box. There's a line of boxes that says personal truths and scars. You can put your primary language in that box. Um, you can put your primary language in that box. Which, if you're, I mean, obviously, if you're American, if you're from the UK or even Australia, it's probably English. Um, that type of thing. Canada's got options. It could be English. It could be French. If for that matter, actually, if you're from the U.S., it could also be, it could also be a Native American language for that matter, if you wanted it to be. Um, which that could create a really interesting character, actually. A Native American
How
spellcaster.
many languages did you say we get?
You get
Yeah, I was
one.
just going to ask that. You only get
You
one?
only
That's a
get
little
one.
weird that you only get one because some
There's
places are
ways to pick them
very
up later on.
bilingual. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a little weird, but all right. Just
How does that work with if we don't speak the same language in the party, though? I mean,
Well, that's a little bit of a problem. So we got to make sure that happens. You do pick up additional languages based on having a higher reason score, and there's also talents that let you pick up groups of languages, that type of thing.
what is the score of reason that you need to get a bonus language?
That is a valid question. Give me 1 second, and I will pull that up for you. Do, 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 do. A 9 or 10 gets you one bonus language, and an 11 or 12 gets you two. And
I,
this is a part of the character generation process that I might modify a little bit if I need to. I'll make a GM call on that. So don't sweat it too much.
well, for the sake of the game working, perhaps we should all pick English or something that we can all land on so that we can speak to each other because not being able to speak to each other seems not
Problematic.
that much fun. Yeah.
But
Just my 2 cents, but
yeah,
you could convince me otherwise, I suppose.
Well, what I'd probably do, let's do this. Let me just throw a blanket decision, GM decision out there. I'm going to give you all English for free regardless. Okay? And the reason I'm going to do that is because you guys represent the Allies, and let's be blunt, what's the primary language spoken by the Allies? Um, so I'm just going to give you English for free. So the flip side of the coin is if you're English or American and speak English by default and you want to pick up an extra language, I'm just going to give it to you because I
wow.
think it's a limitation of. I do think it's a limitation of the system from what I've seen. Um, and I found this with Modiphius's Conan 2D20 game as well. Okay, because if you have played that game and you're looking at the player's guide, and if you know Robert Howard's Hyboria, there's a zillion different countries and there's a zillion different languages, and it's so easy for the characters to come from these different places that they don't speak the same language. Um, you know,
What the heck is that noise?
Sorry, that's me typing.
okay.
I didn't think it would be loud.
It is loud.
No, that's
Damn,
okay.
dude, you are a
That's fair.
fast typer, let me tell you.
Jim, what country are you coming from?
Okay, I was still trying to figure that out. I don't know. I will say this is 1939,
1939.
pre or post invasion of Poland. So that was
Um,
39. It was at 37. I forget.
no, this is going to take place in August of '39. So it is going to take place. Let me get you an exact date in comparison. Hold on one second. I got to control F it. Um,
Was Poland September?
Poland was in September of '39, and this is going to
So it
take
was right
place.
before.
This is going to start in the last days of August.
Oh, perfect. I'll be Polish.
Okay. All right. Good. So go ahead and put Polish in your nationality and in your in one of your personal truths box. Just put languages Polish, and I'll give you English for free.
Thank you.
All right, Marty VP.
I'm thinking, if I were an American, then it would. Now I know you just said you'd give us a language for free, but I'm just thinking that if you're an American, it might be typical to also know um, Spanish or German.
Sure.
Those were very dominant languages in the U.S. Uh,
Absolutely.
in fact, German was almost declared the national language of the U.S. by the first Congress.
Right.
Um, all right, I'm gonna pick U.S.
Okay. And you're
and
an infiltrator archetype, aren't you?
I am. That's why I'd like to take German with my English.
I like it. I like it. All right. Sharif. You're on mute, Sharif.
Sorry, I guess the old tropes will not die. Happens to me all the time. I will play a Sikh from northern India, and he will speak
Nice.
Punjabi.
I
Yeah,
like
that's
it.
really cool.
That
I
is
will
cool.
bring to you the occultism
Very
of the
cool.
East, my friend.
And that gives you a
But I
good
won't speak like
backstory
that 'cause I'm
for.
racist.
Well, yeah. We'll keep it. I don't do accents. You guys all know this by now. I don't do accents because it just comes off as not
Well,
good.
my accent is silly, but I mean it with respect.
Yeah,
Anyway,
Well,
no.
your
moving on.
accents are bad, and also some people might think they're
That
racist.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
I don't mean it that way. I'm just being silly.
We
But
all know that, and
yeah.
I know.
that gives you a good backstory for knowing English too, being that India was uh, certainly colonized by the English. So that makes a lot of sense. I like that.
Are we free to change the names of our characters?
Yes, yeah.
Or
Change it to
okay.
whatever you want. Roll 20 just threw garbage in there. So I have no idea what those names should even represent. I think it's just literally a random creation of characters. And Kyle. Where are you coming from?
So Valentine hails from the great country of Texas. So uh,
Awesome.
I'm trying to think of like a good secondary language for him. Maybe I'll give him some kind of like German ethnic background so that we can put some German in there.
That would be fine. I would think.
Okay. Did
Lost
I
you,
just
Marty.
freeze? I think I
No, I
did.
think
Yeah,
it's
we
Marty.
can't
We
hear you,
lost
Marty.
Marty.
It's Marty. Okay.
You there? Am I here?
I hear you now.
There you go.
I don't know if the
I
others
I
hear you.
accidentally
Yep.
hit the button on my stupid headset. So sorry about that.
So
All right.
start
Gotcha.
over.
Gotcha. So I missed the tail end of that.
Don't
Something
worry about
about
it.
I said I'm going to give him some German heritage, and then you dropped off.
No, it's all good. I'm good with it. That works for me.
Okay.
All right. All right. The background. So,
What is this? What is rank?
rank is something that I will basically assign at some
Okay.
point based on the way your character's built and your background. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's your rank within whatever military organization you're in. So
Okay.
we've
All
got
right. So background.
that's right. So we've got two Americans, a Hindu or I'm sorry, an Indian, a Sikh specifically, and a Polish guy. So I definitely, and looking at the rank side of things, I definitely see the Sikh having a rank in the British military. Um, the Americans certainly would be U.S. military. We got to figure out what our Polish friend, who he works for specifically, but we'll get there in a minute.
Well, he'll have a Polish rank for about a month or two.
A week and a half.
Well, a lot of the Polish who escaped after the attack were taken into the British military.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then the other question is, who does he hate more? Is he from Eastern Poland or Western Poland? Because the Soviet Union and Germany pretty much divided that country right in two.
I hate the fucking Russians. But not going to have much love for the Germans until next month.
Yeah, that's right. All right. So let's roll a d20 for our backgrounds, and this is where I gave my kids a mulligan if what they rolled just really didn't fit. I just said, we'll do something else. Um, and let's see, where did my rolls start? I guess Kyle, you got the first roll in there, don't you? Yeah,
I did.
yeah. All right, so I'll just start with you. You're a driver. Is your background? Is your wait a minute? Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're
Oh, it actually it rolled twice, but
oh
sure.
well. Okay. All right. So yeah. So driver
Yeah, I think
means. Go ahead.
mhm. The first one I rolled was laborer.
Oh,
Uh,
I didn't see the first roll.
I think. Oh, that's interesting. Never mind. Oh, I was probably looking at someone else. Never mind. I'll go with driver.
Okay. All right. So
I was looking at the roll above mine. Sorry about that.
oh, it's no problem. It's no problem. So flipping through the book, that adds a point of brawn, 2 points of coordination, 2 points of insight, and a point of reason.
Okay.
It also adds a point to athletics engineering and 2 points in vehicles.
Interesting. I like that.
Um,
That makes sense because isn't your character a tank driver?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
That's
yeah,
kind of cool.
Uh,
That worked out
that worked out
perfectly.
really
cool.
well. You also gain two focuses. One must be from vehicles, and the other from any other skill. as long as it's a skill
Very
you have a
cool.
rank in, 2 or better in.
Okay.
I don't even know what the vehicle's focuses are off the top of my head. What do those even look like? Oh, cars, motorcycles, heavy vehicles, tanks, aircrafts, and watercraft. Well, that worked out.
Nice.
Um,
Excellent. Excellent.
yeah, and and then you get 1 focus from any other skill that you get a 2 or above in. So that worked out. All right, cool. Um,
Very cool.
then you get 1 talent from the from the vehicle's keyword list, which I've got that PDF in there, but you've also got the book. You just have to find in the book the the vehicle section of the talents, and you can pick one of those talents.
Okay.
Which I
Awesome.
I'm not entirely familiar with those either, just because I haven't had anybody who had vehicles before. But what are those things that are available?
Okay. Well, I will look through here and keep you posted on that.
It'll
That's
be
fine.
good when the team needs to make a quick getaway,
That's right. Oh yeah,
like in
A quick getaway in the tank.
or I was thinking the Dirty Dozen at the end, half track.
combat gunner, drive all night, off road smuggler. Oh, those are cool. There's some cool stuff there. All right, cool. Let's see. Back over. Who rolled after Kyle? Walter Pilecki.
That is me.
All right. You rolled an 18, and an 18 is. Come on, clear up, clear up. A politician.
Ugh. Okay.
If you really hate that, I'll give you a mulligan.
Is that okay? I just had a very visceral response to that.
I don't blame you. It's amazing how
Let's
we
see.
it's amazing how we keep electing politicians when we all react that way to them.
Yeah. So I got a 7. Lucky number 7.
All right, 7 is a covert operative.
Oh, that fits with my backstory too.
All right, good, 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 good. So covert operative, you get 2 points in agility, one
Okay, hold on.
point in coordination,
You said 2 in agility?
2 in agility. I'm sorry.
Okay, 1 in coordination.
Yep, 1 in insight, and 2 in will.
Nice.
You get a point in persuasion, down to the skills.
Right.
2 points in stealth. 1 point in tactics. All right. Then you may choose. Go ahead.
Do I list this somewhere? It's the what's this? What are we rolling for again? I forgot.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What's
This was for the background. The background block.
Okay,
Yep.
and that's and you said that's a
Covert operative.
covert operative. I
Yep.
didn't put that.
Um.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No,
Last
you're
thing you
fine.
did
You're fine. You're fine.
was tactics.
You you gain a focus in stealth, and 1 focus from any other skill.
So focus.
Well, any other skill 2 or higher.
Oh, okay. So 1 focus in stealth, and then you said 2 other in anything that's 2 or higher.
No, 1 other and anything 2 or higher.
1 other in anything or higher. Okay, great.
All right. And then if you open up the talent PDF,
Mm-hmm.
which is it's a little challenging the way Roll20 displays it. The talent PDF is in alphabetical order by keyword. You want to scroll down until you find the stealth keyword,
Okay.
and you'll want to pick 1 talent from stealth.
1 talent from stealth. Got it. That works for me.
Oh shoot. Real quick, Kyle, did you since you've got the
Yeah.
book there, did you grab your truth for being a driver? Because I skipped it, and that's my fault.
I did not. I'm working my way down the list here, so
Okay.
I will do that.
Well, it's in
Interesting.
the driver list of the backgrounds. You pick a truth about your driving ability, which is um, you can create your own, but it's obsessive motor. The choices are obsessive motorist, speed freak, or aerobatic daredevil. Which, if you're a tank driver, I guess that one wouldn't really apply. Um, but
Sure,
um,
sure.
Uh, but you can create your own, and that's something. If you're looking at the character sheet, that's something that you put in the truth box. Um,
Okay.
and the we'll talk more about truths later. Truths have an impact on the game. Um,
Okay.
so back to you, Jim. You collect in addition to picking your talent, we pick a truth about your character. This is something you'll put in the truth, one of the truth boxes. Cover identity, silent killer, or resistance member.
Okay, and I do that in the truth box.
Correct.
Okay. And that's. Do you want me to announce that?
I'm just curious. If you don't want everybody to know, that's fine.
Oh, so personal truths and scars, right?
Yep.
Okay, so yeah. Resistance member.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, just pop that in one of those
So just so
boxes.
you guys know, Pilecki, I don't know exactly how to pronounce his Witold Pilecki was the leader of the resistance of the Polish resistance.
Oh,
And so this is not him.
That's
this is
cool,
his
dude.
cousin.
Nice. His second cousin, twice removed.
Very cool.
That's right.
And I have
So you
been.
said it's a resistance member.
Yep.
Is that right?
I have been skipping gear a little bit just because I'm just trying to keep it moving. We
Sure.
might end up doing gear next time. All right, let's see here. Who's next? Sharif, you rolled a 7, which was the same thing as Walter, so why don't you re-roll that?
Roger that.
A 9? Which is a driver, which is the same thing as Kyle, so why don't you re-roll
Okay.
that?
Let's see what we get this time.
18. Politician.
Okay, give it another twist if you don't mind.
Yeah, I'll let you mulligan that, yeah.
I can't reconcile that with the character very
No,
much.
I agree.
Although maybe I could if you gave me enough time. But
Well, that's up to you, but... Police.
Policeman. That's interesting.
That is interesting.
That's even harder to reconcile.
All right, so that gives you a point in agility,
Okay.
a point in brawn,
Okay.
2 points in coordination.
There's something about this that I like, actually. But go ahead, keep
Okay,
going.
that's fine. And 2 in insight.
Okay.
You gain a point in fighting.
Well, that's handy.
Yeah. 2 in observation. And 1 in persuasion.
Oh, quite persuasive dude all
Is
of a
that the
sudden.
first one? It's first we've heard of persuasion.
No, Sharif had it earlier too, I think.
Okay.
Yes.
You gain 1 focus from observation and 1 focus from any other skill.
I have completely lost track of how many focuses I get now.
You should have a total of 4.
Okay, 4 focuses. So, okay, yeah, but where they come from and stuff is sort of locked in, right? Like,
yeah.
I'll have to get the rule book to do that later,
Okay.
which I will do. So there's 4, but 1 has to be from observation.
One
and
has to be from observation.
And what was the other thing you said that I interrupted you? You said the other one can be
focus
from any other
observation
skill.
and then 1 focus from any other skill. What it amounts to is that all of your characters should have 1 focus tied to a specific skill and then 3 other focuses in skills that are 2 or higher. If that makes sense.
So if any skill gets to 3, what does that do to focuses?
Nothing necessarily.
Okay. So, what
Fo-
is the instinct observation skill? Although we can skip this discussion too if you want
Oh
to
no
save
no no
time.
no! I don't mind because that's it's one of those important things you kind of need to know, right? Instinct under observation. I will just read it to you if I can find it. There it is. Covers the sixth sense or gut feelings made from observations and other extrasensory perceptions that you may not be able to describe the source of. Instincts are unlikely to provide detailed information about a hunch or general feeling about the situation.
Okay, so it seems like from a game management perspective, instincts won't yield. Like I'm not looking for a secret door,
Right,
which would be like sight, let's say.
right,
That would be sight for something specific. Instincts is more like, is there danger here?
right, a gut
Kind of a
hunch.
thing.
But
Okay.
here's what's really interesting about this game system. You guys can make an argument as to why a skill should be used for something else, or why you should use a different skill for something. And I'll give you an example that they give in the book. Let's just say that there's two German guards, and you want to sneak by them. Typically, that would be agility combined with stealth. Makes sense, right? Pretty straightforward. But let's say your character sucks at agility and stealth and you don't want to use that. You could use the argument to say, I want to watch them and see if I can time the best opportunity to get by them, and therefore change the roll to an insight plus observation, if that makes sense. So the game allows you to adjust the system if you can make a reason as to why it should be adjusted, a valid reason in the GM's eyes. Now, there's some things that are set in stone. When you fire a handgun, that's coordination plus fighting. It just is what it is, you know. But there are times when you can goof up the system a little bit if you can make it make sense. But anyway, sorry, that was probably more than you need to know at this moment in time.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
Let's see here. Where was I? I was on. Do, 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 do. We were on your background, right?
Yeah, policeman.
Policeman. I think. Oh, there was one other thing. What's the other thing? You gain. Where is it? There it is. Um, choose a truth to put in your truth box. Busy beat cop. Intimidating military policeman. Hard boiled investigator.
Do they do different things or it's just like a role playing guide?
Now, it's mostly a role playing thing, but it will occasionally have an impact on mechanics.
In that case, I will choose intimidating military policeman.
Okay, perfect. And then you get one talent with the observation keyword.
One talent with the observation keyword. All
Yep.
right.
Yeah, so you just have to scroll down to where.
I do
Uh,
not have a list of talents, so.
um, I've got the PDF you should see.
Oh, it's in the documents section.
Yeah.
Oh, where it says talents.
Yep.
Okay, my bad.
No, it's fine. And the keywords are in alphabetical order, so just scroll down until you get to observation.
Okay. Oh, I went right to it. Nice.
And then yeah, just pick one of those.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Is
Who?
that the last thing I need to do?
That's the last thing you need to do.
Okay. I'll excuse myself for 2 minutes to take a quick bio.
No problem. I'm on. I'm on you, right, Marty? You're
Yep.
the last one. All right. So you rolled an 8. What was your archetype again?
Um,
I don't remember.
Infiltrator.
Infiltrator. Your background is criminal.
Oh, I like it. That's awesome. Hold it. Criminal. Let me write it down. I'll put it in my sheet in a minute.
Yeah, that worked out pretty well.
Uh,
Um, so your attribute adjustments are 2 to agility, 1 to brawn,
okay, hold on. on. Okay.
2 to insight,
Okay.
1 to will,
All right.
and then your skill adjustments are 2 to persuasion,
2 to persuasion.
1 to stealth,
Ooh.
and 1 to tactics.
Okay.
And you get to select a focus from persuasion and 1 focus from any other skill that has a 2 or greater.
Gotcha. And then truth.
Truth, you can make up your own, but the list is Shifty Bagman,
Oh, what
Criminal
I can
Mastermind.
look them up on the man. And
Oh yeah, you got the book. Yeah,
so
and
I have to pick one truth that goes with criminal.
yeah,
Okay.
and then you get a talent with the persuasion keyword.
Okay.
All right, you good?
Yeah.
Let's go to. All right, we're almost done. We're at characteristic. We are at characteristic. Whoever wants to go first, give me a d20. Sharif has a 1.
Ooh.
Sharif, you are a bookworm.
Interesting.
You gain +1 insight, +1 reason, and +1 to any other attribute.
Hmm.
But no attribute can go above 12, just so you guys know. The max of human
Okay.
range is 12.
What are the bonuses for high insight for a 12 insight?
Well, 12 insight. Insight gives you bonus to it gives you bonus damage to ranged and spell attacks, I believe. Um, Reason gives you bonus languages.
Okay, to range and spell attacks.
Yeah.
Will do anything to spells?
Will. Yeah.
What will Will do?
Oh, 1 second here. Um, okay, it depends on what kind of spellcaster you are. If you're a dabbler, will increases your spell damage. If you are a researcher, reason increases your spell damage. And if you're a traditionalist, insight increases your spell damage.
Well, I'm an occultist. What does that mean? Like,
Well, you're
what?
an occultist from India, so it would seem to me, and maybe I'm wrong, but it would seem to me that you would. Oh no! I'm sorry, I'm flubbed up here because I'm still learning the system a little bit. Yeah, I'm sorry. Your ranged attacks gain bonus from insight. Magical attacks gain bonus damage from will.
From Will, so I want a high Will.
You want a high will. Can't go above 12 though.
All right. Well,
All right.
I will up that.
Okay, perfect. You gain 1 point in academia,
Okay.
and then you gain 1 point in 3 other skills. No skill can be chosen twice, and 5 is the max a skill can go to.
1 point in 3 other skills.
Correct.
None can be chosen twice, and
Yep.
5 is the highest. Okay. Perfect.
All right. You gain a talent with the academia keyword.
Okay.
And you gain and put the bookworm truth in your one of your truth boxes.
Not in characteristics or both.
Um. Oh well, yeah, in both. In both.
Okay.
Yep. Um. You guys shifted order on my screen. Okay. Who's next? Kyle, you got a 5?
I did.
Um, criminal mindset?
That is too good.
All right. So that goes in the truth box and the characteristic box, and you get, when you're ready for your stats, you get, or your attributes, you get +1 insight, +1 agility, and +1 to any other attribute.
Okay.
You get +1 to observation, +1 to stealth, and you get +1 in 2 other skills. No skill can be chosen twice.
Okay.
And then you may gain 1 talent with either stealth or persuasion keyword.
Okay.
All right. All right, Walter Pilecki, you are a 12. Interesting. Own an occult artifact?
Oh man, that's awesome. I love that. What a cool thing for a starting character to have in
Yeah.
any
I had
game.
to run back for that.
We'll have to
So own
figure
an
out
art.
exactly what that is.
Okay.
Own an occult artifact. Yeah.
All right. All right. So where do I put that? I'm sorry.
You put it in the characteristic box as well as in
Okay.
a personal, in a truth box.
We don't know what that is later.
Yeah, we got to figure that out. We got to
Okay.
discuss it and agree on it. You gain +1 reason, +1 will, and +1 to any other attribute, as long as it doesn't go over 12.
Okay. Maybe this is how everybody picks up English because these things keep going up, right? Because after 8 or 9, you get another
Yeah,
language
at
for a reason,
9,
right?
yeah.
So I mean that worked out. Okay, you can get +1 anywhere else, right?
Yep. Does anybody have a max stat yet? A 12?
I'm at 11 in insight. I
Yeah,
could have made
No.
it a 12, but I opted for will instead,
gotcha.
as it seemed a better
Yeah, yeah,
deal.
yeah.
Hey, quick question. I'm
Yes.
sorry. I'm sorry, but one of these skills that I'm looking at right here allows me to pick up 3 additional languages. Is that something that would benefit the group for me to do? I don't feel like I need to do it for role playing reasons, but if it's something that we need desperately, it seems
Your
like a pretty good
your
choice.
your covert operatives fighting the occult forces of the German war machine, and who knows where in the world that will take you.
So, what languages do we currently have covered beyond English? Does anybody have a second language that I don't need to double pick?
You got a couple people with German
So, we have Germans already.
and
Okay.
and
Polish.
obviously Polish. Yeah.
German, Polish, Punjabi, English, and is that it?
And there are other languages as well, beyond the normal ones.
Oh, okay. Like occult languages? That might be
Yeah,
interesting. Oh, please fill
yeah.
me in.
Um, I just have to figure out where the heck the list is. Give me 1 second. I'm sorry. It's here somewhere. I know it's here. I just have to find it. I apologize. Archaic and esoteric languages. As the gods and entities of the mythos have interacted with mankind down the ages, much forbidden knowledge has been recorded in long dead languages. Those with a scholarly inclination may specialize in understanding one of these forgotten languages. Here's a short selection of the ancient languages a character could speak or read, as they are the ones most often used in Achtung Cthulhu. But You should feel free to add more as the need arises. Atlantean, Ancient Greek, Latin, Ancient Egyptian, Runic, which is the alphabet used by the Germanic languages before Latin arose to prominence. Um, I'm probably pronouncing this wrong, but Ogham, which is the early Irish language from the late Roman era. Hebrew, Aramaic, Old Norse, which is the North Germanic language spoken by the early Vikings, and Sanskrit, which of course is an ancient language of India.
All right.
Now, as a side note, there is a focus in academia, I think, called linguistics. The linguistics focus does not give you more languages, but it gives you a general understanding of languages. It gives you a better chance. Like if you're trying to figure out what language is this and you don't explicitly know it, it just gives you a better chance of succeeding at that role.
It looks, reading the description, I don't know if you're referring to the polyglot skill, but it sounds like it.
Oh no,
It seems like
polyglot skill is different. That's a
it's
talent.
different. Okay. Oh, you're talking about the focus. My bad.
Yeah,
My
yeah,
bad.
yeah, yeah.
I'm still learning the terms.
No,
Okay,
that's fine. The
gotcha.
polyglot talent is the one that that's
So linguistics, you have just a general idea.
correct. Linguistics gives you a basic understanding of languages, their derivations, their history, their construction, so that, like I said, if you see something written in a language that you don't explicitly know, it gives you an opportunity to
Okay.
to
Well, it
figure out
turns
what
out
it
I
is.
have both. So I think
What
does the do you other players think that there's any? So I picked Atlantean and Latin to give my character his like occultic bent. But is there a practical modern language that you think that we need to have? French, Italian. I mean, German's covered. I don't know. If not, I'll pick Sanskrit. But if you have a suggestion,
I mean, I don't know. Is
Well, I
this?
certainly understand the utility argument, but I think it'd be cool just to have like this super weird esoteric guy too. I think that's fun.
I definitely agree with that. Jim, were you saying something?
Yeah, I mean, are we looking at? I mean, I don't know enough. I guess it doesn't matter because we shouldn't know very much about this lore, but maybe Arabic because of
Ooh, I like it.
what was the guy who discovered the Necronomicon?
Yeah, the
That's a
Mad
really
The Mad
good
Arab,
one.
Arab.
Yeah,
Abdul Al
Abdul Al
Hazed.
Hazred. That's right.
That's right.
All right,
So I
cool.
don't know
So
if that's
Nice.
relevant in this world or
I'm
not,
going
but
with Arabic because of
Oh,
Jim's
oh, the
excellent
Mad
suggestion.
Arab is mentioned in this world. If Lovecraft wrote about it, it's somewhere in this world.
okay.
Excellent.
Well, maybe that's a good one. I don't know.
All right.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Where am I at now? Who does not have a characteristic?
I think we
Does everybody?
do.
Did we?
Me.
You? Okay. I thought I was missing somebody. Do
Yeah,
I have a
hold on a
D20
second.
roll for you?
I
Okay.
will. I'm pasting something.
Oh,
Give me
no
just
problem.
1 second, and I'll
No
be
problem.
done with that. Paste. All right. So let me go back to there, and let me pull that up, and let me hit that.
A 1. Well, we already have a bookworm.
Okay.
A 19. Veteran of the Great War.
That makes me kind of old.
Eh,
All right.
I mean,
Okay. Characteristic veteran of the Great War.
you could have been 17, 18 years old in 1917, and that would put you, in your late 30s, almost 40 now. Unless you want to mulligan it, I'll let you re-roll that if you want.
Oh, no. No.
Okay. All
No.
right. Veteran of the Great War. You gain +1 in brawn. You gain +1 in coordination and +1 in will.
Okay.
You gain +1 in fighting, +1 in survival, and +1 to 2 other skills. No skill can be chosen twice. You gain a talent with either the fighting keyword or the survival keyword.
Okay.
And then you get the veteran of the Great War truth um, in your characteristic in your truth box. And we'll just yeah, we'll do equipment. We'll just do equipment at a later time because equipment gets a little. Plus, I'd rather be able to provide you guys PDFs if I can. I don't know. I'll figure that out. Of course, if you guys get the player guide, you'll have all of it.
I just picked up the player guide on PDF, so
Okay. All right.
if
That's
anybody
fine.
needs extracts or anything, you can.
Okay. Finishing touches. Truths. You should all have at least 4, which includes your nationality and your languages. Your nationality is technically a truth, even though we don't typically put it in the truth box.
Okay, I missed that earlier, so we put
All right.
nationalities
So
in
your
the truth box.
nationality
Okay.
is a truth.
Right.
Your language is a truth. Your background has a truth attached to it.
Right. And so does your
And then we
characteristic.
just, and then we just, yeah, we just got one
Right.
from the characteristic, which
Yeah.
I haven't put in yet. Okay.
So I have right. Did you say that nationality gets listed twice then?
Well, it
truth
goes in
and
the nationality box up at the top. You
Yeah.
don't really need to put it in the truth box, in my opinion,
Right.
because
Okay.
it's right there on the page.
Okay.
It's a
I was
little
just
confusing
trying
the
to
way
count
they
them.
write that.
Mhm.
You guys should all have, every one of your attributes should be between 6 and 12, and you should have a total of 51.
Oh,
51.
oh, nice.
Nice. That's cool.
Nice double check. Like that.
Yeah, none of you should have a skill higher than 5, and the total of all your skills should equal 17, unless you had the dilettante characteristic, which I don't believe any of you did.
You
The
said
total of our
should
skills should be 17?
Correct.
I'm nowhere near that. I've screwed it up.
You're who?
I'm missing
Mircon?
3 skill points too, so I have to go back through it. Yeah.
I'm missing 4 skill points, but I know I fucked this up. I was not too concerned because when I get the book, I'll give it the eagle-eyed once over.
Can you say that again? The total of your skills should be what?
17.
If
6, 7, 9, 12,
yeah, I'm way off too.
15. Yeah, I'm good because I have 15 and I haven't done my 2 other skills yet.
Okay.
Yeah, I have 13, so I'm missing 4. Seems like a lot to miss.
It just means we missed it on one of the, and it might be my fault. I might have accidentally skipped it. I hope not, but it's possible.
Oh, I'm sure it's me. Sounds like me.
Every character should have 4 focuses, and every character should have 3 talents.
Yeah, my focuses. I have more focuses than 4, but I think that's because of the bookworm thing.
Oh, right. That's right. That's. Hold on one second. Yeah, because wait a minute. You had. Well, no, that didn't. Because you gain a focus. Hold on. Let me figure this out. You gain 2 focuses from your background, and then you gain 2 focuses from your archetype. Yeah, everyone should have 4 focuses. Except there's a couple talents that might add. Whoa, I didn't mean to do that. There's a couple talents that might add a focus. Let's just double check that. I mean, I can also go back through these later and make sure everything is tightened up, and anything that needs to be adjusted, I can fix it, or I can get with you to fix it. Because we do have to do equipment at some point. Um, all right. Well, I'll go back through and double check everybody, and then if anything needs to be adjusted, we can get that sorted out. It's not that big a deal. It's a little bit of a goofy system if you've never done it before. Once you've done it a few times, you kind of get the hang of it. But the first time or two you do it, you can miss things. Um, but we'll come back. All right. Bonus languages. Who's got a reason above at 9 or above?
I do. I got a
Me.
10.
All right, so you gain a bonus language.
I'm going for German then.
Okay. Unless you want to do something else. You do have two guys that speak German.
I think that falls in line with what he is.
Okay, that's fine. No problem. Um, Anybody else have a 9, 10, 11, 12 reason? Okay. All right. Now, um, the stress track should have auto calculated. Um, you guys see the stress track just underneath the personal truths?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yes.
I do.
Stress is basically your damage. It's your version of hit points in this game. It can represent either mental or physical damage. The stress track is based on the highest of either your will or your brawn, whichever's higher, plus your resilience score. Um, so if but it should auto calculate that. So that should be done. Um, Next is that you gain armor and courage soak, and I don't think the character sheet automatically does this for you. So, right next to the stress track, you see fortune, experience, then courage and armor. So, does anybody have a will of 9 or higher?
Yes, I have a 9.
All right, if you have a 9,
Mm-hmm.
put 1 point in courage.
Okay.
10 or 11?
10 or 11 will.
Yeah, does anyone have a 10 or 11 will? No? Okay. All right. And then brawn. Does anybody have a 9 or higher brawn?
I have a 9.
I have a 9.
All right, so if you have a 9, put 1 point in armor. And understand what the game is replicating here is it's not literal armor, right? It's not bullets are going to bounce off your skin. It's just a measure of your general ability to take physical punishment. So,
It's a measure of
Okay.
toughness.
yeah, no one has a 10 or better on brawn. Okay. How much stress do you guys all have? I'm just curious.
I have 9.
9 for me.
Okay.
I have wait,
I
stress.
have 11.
I have 11 as well.
Okay. All right. So you guys aren't as squishy as I was afraid you were going to be. All right. Real quick. Um, the game should have auto. Did it? I don't know if it did or not. Anyone who has a brawn of 9 should have. If you look down at the attributes, anyone who has a brawn of 9 should have a 1 of bonus damage in their brawn. I don't know if the character sheet did that automatically or not.
Okay.
Yeah, mine did.
Okay, good.
Yes.
All right. Anyone with an insight above 9 should have bonus damage listed there as well.
Yeah, it did it automatically for me.
Good.
Yeah, me too.
Also, will it put
And
the,
also
the one
will.
under there
Me too.
automatically? Yeah.
Perfect. All right, good. I'm glad it did it automatically. I didn't know if it would or not.
All right. And I have an agility of 10, and it gave me a bonus damage of 2.
Yeah, that's correct. Though
Okay.
there's not a lot of instances where agility is going to be used to cause damage, but that's okay. Maybe that's something you can
Hand to hand, maybe.
Well, no, that's typically going to be under brawn or
Brawn.
coordination with
Okay.
fighting.
Okay.
So, unless you can come up with an argument as to why you should use agility. All right. That covers the finishing touches with the exception of our friend the spellcaster. The so the question is your highest Sharif, your highest shit. I know what I'm trying to say, but it's not coming out. You've got a high insight, correct?
Correct. It is my highest stat.
All right. Which means that you don't want to be a psychic or a dabbler. You want to be a traditional spellcaster. If I can get the PDF to get there. So, means that you want to go with a traditional type of spellcasting. What did your you got a talent for spellcasting? Which one did you go with?
Occult scholar.
Occult scholar.
Yeah.
Um, okay, and that makes a lot of sense the way your character is being built. So the question, and I you can make this decision for yourself, but the two types of traditions that kind of go along with you would be rune weaving, which is a magical tradition mostly prevalent in Norse and Scandinavian peoples. It draws on the power of the runes to channel the Viking pantheon of deities. Now, let's be blunt. That's a little flavoristic. We could easily adapt that to, the Hindu pantheon if we wanted to, right? But the other option is Druidism. Magical tradition, mostly of the Celtic people, is rooted in animistic beliefs, drawing power from both its gods and the forces of the natural world. That certainly can be matched to the flavor of someone from India as well.
Well, let me ask you this. Which school of magic will allow my character to yell out Kali Ma over and over?
Awesome.
Oh, you're a bad man, sir. Um,
Kali Ma. It sounds like probably if I had to square what little I know of East Indian occultism with these broad categories, I guess I would say Druidism.
I
We
would
could.
say you're probably right.
I don't really think Sanskrit has any kind of like runic tradition like that where you're casting like ruins to. Yeah, I would say Druidism is animism is probably
All right.
more on the target that I'm looking to capture here.
Becomes a wielder of magic. They have one talent.
Is
Has
it so? This goes in our personal truths,
um. Well, no. This
traditional.
is. I'm just. Well, you could put it there. Yeah, you could put it there. If you want to.
You said
Um.
traditional occultist Druidism, right? Is that what you
Correct.
said?
Correct. Now for you, there is, and it might be on the spell page.
Whoops.
Oh, there it's where it is. Go to the spell page on your character sheet.
Oh, I see it now.
Yep.
Okay.
So you should be able to click traditional.
Oh, I think I just clicked. Yeah, I clicked. Okay, there we go.
All right, perfect.
Tradition, druidism.
Yep. So it gave you a 4 power because you get 2 automatically, and then it gave you the 2 bonus from your stat. It's nice when the character sheet does shit automatically, right?
Yeah, it's weird though because under bonuses it doesn't give me anything. It just says
Um,
attributes 4 and bonuses 0. So it calculates the bonus from stats under attributes,
yeah,
but
it,
the
it
bonus
just
box
plugged
must
it
be
in
for
there.
something else, right?
The bonus box would be if you had some sort of talent or something else going on. I think.
Oh, okay.
Let's see here. You
Like
know.
a artifact that I start with, like that.
You pick. You get to pick 3 spells from your tradition.
Oh, okay. Neat.
So you said you would order the book.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get it. I don't think there's any way I can play this without.
Yeah, it's especially being a spellcaster. Especially
Yep.
being a spellcaster. So, uh,
Sharif, you can check your email.
Oh, Jim, I love the sound of that.
so when you look at the PDF, there's going to be a section called Magic, and then there's going to be the Celtic Spellbook. That's basically where you're pulling your spells from. You get 3 spells.
Okay,
So
cool.
we're going to have to go through those and figure out what you want.
Okay, will do.
Um, it's getting close to noon, so I'm going to talk about a few things real quick. So this game is it's based on the 2D20 system. And what's going to happen is I'm going to tell a character to make a roll. Okay, some rolls what they are set in stone. Other rolls are um, other rolls can be changed if you have an argument as to why it should be used something else. But let's just say my character John Hartman is going to make a ranged attack. He is going to throw a grenade at somebody. That would be coordination with athletics, and he has a throwing focus. So I, as the GM, would or you as the player, I'm sorry, would then click. If you're looking at their attributes on your character sheet, there's a big D20 right next to coordination. You would click that, and it drops up, opens up a box, says number of dice 2. 2 is always the default. You hit submit. It asks for the relevant skill. I said athletics, so I'd picked athletics from the drop down box. I'd hit submit. Does a focus apply? In this case, yes, because he's throwing something. And he has the throwing focus. And then I hit submit. Difficulty's always 1 unless I say otherwise. And then it rolls. So you should see right there, John Hartman, success. Dice rolled 2. If you hover over the 2, it tells you what the rolls were, a 1 and a 14. He had 2 successes. The reason he had 2 successes is because the 14 was beyond his target number, but the 1 was a critical success. So he got a success for it being under his target number, and he got another success for it being a critical. Okay? Which means he
Nice.
generated 1 point of bonus momentum because he only needed one. It was a difficulty 1 task. He only needed 1 success for it to work. Momentum can be used to do different things. And then if you're looking further at that drop down box, there's a show details where you can get more information. Some of the handouts I've pre generated for you, there's momentum spends outside of combat and inside of combat. You generate momentum as the game goes on by getting more successes than the difficulty of the task. Okay? Momentum cannot go above 6. Your pool cannot be above 6, no matter what. And whenever a scene ends, the momentum pool drops by 1. So the point is use it or lose it. Okay? Momentum spends in combat, there's a couple different things you can do. You can spend up to 3 momentum to get 3 extra damage dice. Okay? You can spend momentum to get bonus d20s on your roll. But you have to announce that before you roll. Okay? But you can see if you spend just 1 momentum, you get a bonus d20. But if you want a second bonus d20, you have to spend 2 more. And if you want a third bonus d20, you have to spend 3 more. So if you wanted 3 bonus d20s, you've got to spend 6 momentum. Okay? Which will blow your pool, but maybe it's worth it. Confidence, you can spend a point of momentum to add morale to the group. That can be, we'll get into that. I don't want to get too much in the weeds. Create truth. This is an important one. Okay? You can spend you can spend 2 points to create, remove, or change a truth. A truth in this game is a fact about the situation that changes the mechanics of the game. Okay? Um, an example of that would be, and this can be done in combat or out of combat. In combat, an example would be you ran into a room. It's a big library in a castle. Okay? Um, on the other side are 2 German guards with MP40s. They see you and open fire. Okay, I've got momentum. I want to spend 2 momentum to create a truth. What truth do you want to create? Well, I'm in a library. Are there tables? Of course, yeah, there's tables. I want to flip up a table to give us some cover from their attack. Okay, for example. That's an in combat version of creating a truth. Another in combat version of creating a truth would be, say, the German is behind his own table. I want to make a ranged attack with my Thompson submachine gun that, if it's successful, I'm going to spend 2 momentum to create a truth that destroys the table he's hiding behind for cover. Outside of combat, you can create truth as well. And we'll get more into this when we assign your gear. But you could spend 2 momentum. I don't know. You're investigating something. You found an occult symbol that you don't know anything about. No one in the party can knows what it's from. And you want to spend 2 momentum to create a truth that basically says you know a guy in this city who might know something about it. Okay, if that makes sense. Creating truths is a little complex, but you'll get the hang of it the more you play. Um, so anyway, there's that. There's another important one on here called obtain information, where you can spend 1 point of momentum to ask the GM a question about the situation. Um, Without any sort of skill roll attached. This can be done in and outside of combat. When you walk into a scene, I'm going to explain what you see, just what every character just should automatically know from the situation, right? What kind of room you're in, how many people are here, stuff like that. Um, you can Let's just say you make an inside observation roll because you're looking for something. I'm just making a random example here, and you find what you're looking for, but you have additional questions that maybe you want answers to. You can spend momentum to obtain more information about the situation. Again, it sounds more complex than it is. It's really not that difficult, but it can be done instead of these constant, because you guys have all seen the games where you're investigating, you're just constantly doing these observation checks. you know, obtain information, momentum
Yeah.
spend is designed to kind of replace that to an extent so that you're not constantly doing that. It also makes it so that characters who don't have good observation can contribute by spending momentum. Um,
I actually picked up the talent detailed analysis I picked, which lets you do 2 momentum to ask 3 questions to the GM about the scene.
that's cool. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, so that'll be a fun one.
Um, so momentum is one of your currencies in game. Your second one is fortune points. Every character gets 3. You should have 3 automatically on your character sheet. And I've got a handout there that breaks down what fortune points can be used for. The most important one that most everybody uses is the critical success. What a fortune point does, you have to announce spending it before you make whatever your skill check is you're making. And it takes one of your dice, one of your d20s, and just sets it to a 1 automatically. Okay? So that you're only rolling 1d20 at that point. But by setting it to a 1 automatically, you get 2 successes just right out the gate. And then whatever else the extra d20 gets you. But you have to announce it ahead of time. Flip side of the coin is that, let's say you meant to do that and you forgot to. You can spend a fortune point to re-roll any number of dice in a dice pool. Okay? So let's say you meant to do that and you forgot to do it and the roll didn't work out. Well, you can still spend a fortune point to try to get another shot at it. Or let's just say you burned a ton of momentum to get a bunch of bonus d20s onto your roll, and it just didn't go right. It just screwed up and everything went to hell. You can spend a fortune point to just re-roll all those d20s if that's what you want to do. Fortune points can be used to give you an additional major action in combat. We'll get into the weeds of that when we get into combat. But there are every character gets a minor action and a major action, kind of like Alien, a fast action and a slow action. And you can spend a fortune point to get an additional major action. You can spend a fortune point to keep yourself from being knocked out in combat. Um, so fortune point fortune points are manageable from the standpoint of you get 3 per game. You will get them back at the end of the game no matter what. So use them. Absolutely use them. But you can gain fortune points throughout the game. You can choose to fail a skill test. Now, the skill test, there's got to be something at stake here. This can't just be a random skill test. Everybody's rolling observation, and I choose to fail it, so I get a fortune point. No, that doesn't work. You have to. It has to be something where something's at stake. But you can voluntarily fail that skill test to gain a fortune point. Um, Also, as your characters get injured and start to receive scars, mental or physical, there are times where you can invoke a scar in order to gain a fortune point. And we'll get to that as that happens. The third in game currency is really mine, but you guys get to use it to an extent. It's called threat. And if you guys remember Conan, it's the same thing as Doom, essentially. I get a certain amount of threat at the beginning of the game, based on how many of you there are. Usually it's between 1 and 4 per character. I can spend threat to introduce additional enemies. I can spend threat like momentum, like the way you guys spend momentum. I can spend threat for additional damage. The reason why it's a currency for you is because there are times when you guys make dice rolls where you're going to get what's called a complication, and you have the option of either taking a negative side effect of the dice roll, which I'll tell you what that is when we get there, or giving me threat. So it has no impact on you at the moment, but it's something that's going to bite you later. Also, let's say you have no momentum and you are out of fortune points and you have to you're shooting your 1911 at this Nazi and it has to hit. You cannot afford to miss no matter what. You can buy bonus D20s by giving me threat, just as if you were spending momentum. So if you have 2d20s and you want 3 more because this attack has to hit and has to be successful no matter what, you can give me 6 threat to pick up 3 bonus d20s.
I remember this from Conan, and it's hairy as fuck.
It
like
can.
fast. I remember. You got to really be choosy about this.
Yeah. Well, it's the good news is it's not as bad as Conan. Because in Conan, when you got to the big bad, the nemesis that was just a nasty enemy to begin with, I could just start burning doom to constantly act and act and act and act and act, and it just, and as a GM, it's hard to balance that because you don't want to obliterate your party in the first round, right? But it's not quite as bad as that. So, other than that, you guys will learn the system as we play. It's actually relatively easy. The major thing is to remember that you guys are heroes and to act heroically. Um, there was one other thing. Oh, combat's simple. There's no real initiative system in combat. Combat is very simple. The players always have initiative from the standpoint that when a combat action scene starts, the players go first. Okay, one player goes first, and then it flips over to me. I get to have one of my characters go, and then it flips over to you, and then it flips back to me. Very simple till everybody's gone. Except one time per round, you guys can spend 2 momentum if you have it to retain the initiative. So Kyle can shoot at a guy. Say he goes first, and he takes a shot at a guy, and he hits him, and you guys think you can knock him out with another successful hit. So you spend 2 momentum to have Sharif go next, or whomever goes, right? So that's but you can only do that once per round. You can't just keep burning momentum to keep going. Which I kind of like that because if you have players who are really successful, they could easily go, 3. The whole party could end up going before the bad guys get to do anything, and then there's no bad guys left. So the And then as far as combat damage is concerned, you guys have your stress track. If you take 3 points of damage, whether it's mental or physical, you mark off three of those boxes. If you ever take 5 hits, 5 boxes in one hit, you gain an injury. Okay. If you run out of boxes, if you take damage in excess of your boxes, you gain an injury. Which means if your boxes are all used up and you take a hit of 5, you take 2 injuries. The reason this is important is because if you take 3, you're dying. Okay. Now, death is not nearly as common in this game, from what I can tell, as it is in Alien. Because Alien's got that critical hit system, right? There's 8 things on it that'll just kill you outright. This is not that. This is not that bad, and there are things you can do. There are things you can do in combat to help lessen your damage, but courage soaks mental damage, and armor soaks physical damage. So if an MP40 hits you for 4 damage, and you've got 1 point of armor, you only took 3. So it generally speaking, the damage from just your normal guys with guns is not going to add up that badly. Um, I'm not saying when this will happen, but when you guys start fighting, you know, uh, ancient horrors and eldritch terrors, that gets a little ugly. But
Yeah,
hopefully,
yeah, I have to imagine.
yeah, hopefully you'll be, hopefully your characters will be a bit more advanced by then. Fingers crossed. So, um, thoughts, questions?
What
This is awesome. I
so
love
does
the
the
theme. Seems slick.
yeah, the theme is awesome. How because I'm obsessing about what kind of occult artifact I have.
Ah, yeah.
From like where do we draw? Where are you drawing like all the material? Are you sticking within the books that are published for both
I- I'm I'm
Modiphius, or are you
I'm very flexible. I'm very flexible on that. If you can link it to anything Lovecraft ever did, I'm okay with it. Is what it
okay?
amounts to.
So
Um,
that's kind of where we're at. Okay, I'm
yeah.
I'm not looking for like a nuclear weapon or anything. I'm
No,
just
no, no, no,
curious if
no.
there was
Yeah.
like a
I mean,
artifact section in one of the books
if
or
it's like an ancient idol of an elder god, or something like that,
something like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm not real picky about it. It in the case of character generation, it doesn't have any real power. It just kind of influenced what your character knows and how he responds to the world, right? Now there
Right.
are occult artifacts in the game that do have power. Um,
Right.
there's
Just not this one,
just not this one. Yeah, I mean there's
potentially.
there's
Yeah.
one there's one in one of the adventures. I have enough material for us to probably play for 10 years. I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's it's crazy. Um,
Yeah.
but there's one artifact in one of the adventures that whoever has it gets plus 2 points to their reason. I mean, 2 points to a major
Wow.
attribute, and it can go
Yeah.
over the 12 max. That's
Okay.
that seems pretty powerful to me. Um, let's see here. Sharif, how are you doing on spells?
I am just kind of looking into that right now, so I'm reading things over as you explain things.
Yeah, so you're if you look at basically based on the type of spellcaster you are, you'd probably be looking at the Celtic spellbook. And we can reflavor these if need be, to your ethnicity. Uh,
I honestly can't tell you how awesome that thing right there that you just said sounds to me. To go over this spell book and give it like a the Eastern occult Indian flavor. Oh my God, it's going to be so much fun. I can't wait to chomp
um,
down on this.
are you looking at any spell in particular?
No, not yet.
All right. Well, let's do this. Can you find the Spear of Lug? It's under the. If you're using the
Yeah,
table of
let
contents,
me
it's under
let me
the
search.
Magic Celtic spell book. Or yeah, Control F is your friend.
How do you spell lug?
LUG.
Uh, miscast spells mentions Spear of Lug. That must not be it. Spear of Lug. The spellcaster focuses their will and calls upon the power of the ancient Celtic god, or in this case, Shiva,
Right.
focusing their combined energies to form a living weapon, a burnished spear of destructive power, which they can hurl at their foes. Oh, this is so fucking awesome. Yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah. So if you were to cast Spear of Lug, now in combat, so you understand, every character gets a minor action and a major action. But if you want to cast a spell, you have to use your minor action to prepare for that. Okay. So if you cast a spell, that's all you're doing that turn is casting a spell. And again, magic is very powerful in this game. So now that Spear of Lug uses the fighting skill. I don't know what in terms of the success roll, I don't know what your fighting skill is. Um,
Fighting skill is one.
is one. So this may not be necessarily the skill you want, but we're just a spell you want, but we're using it as an example. The
Mhm.
difficulty is 3. So you need 3 successes for this spell to work.
That seems pretty tough with a skill of one. What do you
It
think?
could, which is where you get into fortune and momentum spends, right?
Mhm.
The cost is 5 damage dice with drain and piercing 1. Whether you are successful in casting the spell or not, you pay
Good
that
lord,
cost.
that is brutal.
Yeah, so what would happen is if you cast Spear of Lug, you would roll for your cost, you would roll 5d6, and I just rolled 5d6. This is just like Conan. A 1 does 1 damage, a 2 does 2 damage, 3 and 4s do nothing, and 5 and 6s do 1 damage plus an effect. So what I just rolled right there, just so you're aware of it, would have done 2, 3, 4, 5 mental damage to you. Okay? With 2 piercing effects. So if you have courage, 2 of your courage would be counteracted. So you would have taken 5 mental damage. And it's got the drain effect, which would have fatigued you, which makes future actions more difficult so you
Jesus
get sleep.
Christ. So spells are like, you better save these for like the boss.
But the flip side of the coin is that it inflicts your power, which is 4, right? Isn't your power on your spell attacks 4? Isn't that what we
That I
figured
don't
out?
know. I don't know where it even says that. Oh,
It's
power
on this,
four.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. That's right.
It gives you an additional of 2, so you get 6 damage dice on the attack automatically. With piercing 3, which means every effect you roll goes through 3 points of armor. Okay? And look at that. You can spend 2 momentum to get the intense effect. The intense effect, if the attack does a wound of damage, meaning 5 points or more, it does a second one.
Jeez. Yeah,
And
so
for
it's
2
like a
more
nuclear bomb going off.
Yeah, for 2 more momentum, you get to spend the vicious effect, which vicious, every time you roll an effect, does a point of damage. So, for example, let's just say you were to cast that spell, and where'd my mouse go? There it is. I lost my mouse for a second. Advanced dice roller. You got 66s. Roll. Okay, that was a really bad example. I rolled a ton of 3 and 4s. Let me try that again. There we go. So
Hmm.
you got 3 damage from the 3 ones. You got 2 more damage from the 5 and 6. So you had 5 damage from that, okay? And because of 2 effects, it's already piercing 6 points of armor, which is going to go through pretty much anything's armor, with the exception of some of the really powerful monsters. So you're up to 5 damage. You can spend 2 momentum to get the vicious effect, and you rolled a 5 and a 6, so that's 2 effects. So 2 momentum got you up to 7 damage, which is automatically a wound on anything. And if you spend 2 more momentum, you did 7 damage, got 2 wounds out of it, and if it was out of stress, it took 3 wounds. You killed it in a shot.
Nice. So yeah, it really is like the nuclear option, but
Yeah,
you're
you're
gonna
going to
feel it.
suffer for it. You're going to
You're gonna
suffer
suffer
for it. So
for
you
it.
got to know when to use it, and when you decide to use it, you have to be successful.
Are you saying that I've got to know when to fold them and know when to hold them?
In the absence of Bob, are you now going to be the musical
I'm
reference
sorry.
guy?
I'm sorry,
If you've
Marty.
watched
You don't
any of our
deserve this.
actual plays, Kyle, of Alien, we had a guy from New Zealand that we all called Bob, and he
Yeah.
A
every
legend, by the way. A fucking legend,
oh
this
man,
guy.
guy got up
Dude, he
at
played at like 3 or 4 or 5 in the morning
yeah.
Yeah.
every time. I was like groggy at 9 o'clock, and this
Holy
guy's like
shit.
up at 4 in the morning playing with us. It's crazy.
Yeah,
Absolute legend.
yeah, it was he was great, but every game he found a way to input a musical reference. Like when they discovered Sharif was an android, he said when they were telling Sharif, the trust in the parties in the group's kind of broken now, and Bob was like, you have to understand, every move you make. It was like, oh god. And then there was the one when the
That's
NPC
awesome.
Miles Dyson fell down the elevator shaft and splatted at the bottom, and
Oh yeah.
he started going, "Let the bodies hit the floor." I was like, "Oh, come
Oh
on,
yeah. Dude, you're giving me like aliens PTSD now.
man."
All right, I have a question for the
Your
team.
Deckard RIP comment that you made the other
Yeah,
day, Jim, that was hilarious.
Oh
Rest in
yeah.
peace. Oh yeah. There was a lot of
Oh,
Deckard
good
in
old
that
Max.
game, Kyle. It was really good shit.
Does
It was
does
fun.
anybody have the medicine skill?
I think
I do. I have.
Not
Let
me.
me take a look at it.
I did
I
look
do
at
have.
that.
It's not the huge, but I have some of it. Let's see. Medicine. I have a two. So I have
Okay.
first aid and psychiatry.
All right. Cool.
all right.
First aid and psychiatry.
I
Yeah.
was afraid we might be walking into this thing with no first aid
No.
on the team.
Oh, I wanted to mention before I forget. I did get the Building Better Worlds. They sent me the book, I guess, a month early. I didn't expect it. And there's a new class of ships in Building Better Worlds called the Magellan class, which I thought
Oh
it's a
yeah,
scientific research vessel.
nice.
So I mean, it's like the most common boat. But yeah, it's actually like the Magellan we had in that campaign. And it's weird that it got included in Building Better
Well,
Worlds.
as long as they didn't put a journalist career in the game, because at this point I would sue them. So
Yeah, I don't think I haven't looked that deeply into it, but it's a nice book. I'll have to
yeah,
look to see.
I
They might have a
They
journalist.
already
I don't
ripped
know.
off your cat.
yeah. I don't know if you guys are aware of that, but I created a cat career over 6 months before they unveiled Heart of Darkness, which has a playable cat player in it. And I I was really upset about that, and I still am a little bit, to the extent that I've never run Heart of Darkness for anybody. And I'm just kind of salty, I guess. I love the game, but they really gave me a form letter response when I asked them about it. So
Yeah,
um, and I've even spoken to Dave Seamark about it, who is heavily involved in the production and development of that game. And he said, "Yeah, it was something Andrew Gasca just came up with out of the blue." And I was like,
Yeah,
"Okay,
right.
yeah.
all right."
Well, I mean, there's that one video game Gollum came out for Lord of the Rings, which was, I guess, terrible. I didn't even look at it, but there was a video game. I forget what it was called. It came out with the PS5 when the PS5 launched. Where you're a cat and you're basically going through, in like a 3D adventure with a cat. Um, if you want
It's
to
a
do hard
stray, I think,
business
right?
and get back at them, just assign the cat to me, and I'm sure I'll kill him off in the first session by accident. Get
Nice.
your roof head. But it'd be cool to have a Jonesy playable character in like a one of the Alien video games. That'd be kind of fun.
Yeah, that could be fun. Um,
Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
oh no, it's fine. It's fine.
Back to Cthulhu, not
Yeah,
All right.
it's
Alien.
all right. So let's do this because I know Kyle's time's probably getting short. You have a hard stop at what time?
Getting there.
Yeah.
I can go till about 11:30, 20 till maybe.
Okay, so another 9 or 19 minutes. So, which is fine because
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So let's do this. Let's talk about the next time we can play. Um, I'm good, I think, with again keeping these sessions short. I'm good to a short session Thursday next week. Um, the
I
20.
can't do Thursday.
Okay, all right. Well, that's why I'm asking the question because the
Yeah.
28th is out for me as well. So I guess it's a question of if we just want to um, get back to this and actually launch the game in the new year on the 4th.
Let's take a look here. Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, I'm good on the fourth too. That might be a reasonable approach.
Yeah, just
Give us some time to read over the books and come up with our. Do we have like equipment points to spend, or how
yes,
does that work?
yes. So
So maybe we could do that in the next 2 weeks on our own and flush out our
yeah,
character.
that if you look at you gain equipment a couple different places, and I'll just tell you real quickly. You gain equipment from your archetype. Uh, you gain usually you get two items. Like I'm just looking at the soldier. So Kyle gets one weapon with a restriction 3 or lower, and he gets one handgun of restriction 1. Okay. You also gain equipment from your background, um, and your characteristic. Okay.
Okay.
Um, Now the equipment in the player's guide is, let me close this giant magic category. The equipment is under tools of the trade, which is page 98 in the printed version, page 99 in the PDF. And it explains everything about the equipment, and don't worry too much about the qualities and stuff. What you're looking at is you're looking at the melee weapons, the handguns, the submachine guns, rifles, all that stuff. Just look at the different weapons, and then there's a another. And then there's a list of general equipment. Every item has a restriction rating. Okay, the restriction rating is how hard it is to find, and it goes from 1. I think it even goes all the way up to 7. But 1 is a commonly found item like a basic pistol or revolver. When you start getting to 2s and 3s, you're getting into military equipment or complex military equipment. When you get into 4s and 5s, you're getting into experimental shit, occult stuff, stuff like that. But the your archetype, your characteristic, and your background tells you the equipment that you start with, and it tells you the restriction, and you get to pick from there. Sometimes it gives you an option of an item or a contact that has a focus in a particular skill. That that's up to you to make that decision. The important thing you have to understand is that each character can carry, I believe, let me double check. There is encumbrance in this game. You've got 3 different sizes of items. You've got trivial items, you've got minor items, you've got major items. money is a trivial item. No one cares. Okay, anything of those small easy things you jam in your pockets, you can carry any number of those. A minor item is is typically like a handgun, whereas a major item is more like a machine gun or a rifle. Um, you get to carry. Let's see here. Three minor items and one major item. Okay, three minor items equates to a major item. So if you don't want three minor items and you just want two major items, you can do that. And then you gain bonus items based on your brawn. The game does not count ammunition bullet by bullet. It basically counts ammunition by reloads, similar to Alien. Um, three reloads constitutes a minor item. So, um, most characters carry one major item, then they carry some minor items. But if you've got a character with a high brawn, you get some additional items to carry. If you go over your encumbrance, it does have an impact on your character. You get fatigued, and that can slow you down. So you want to try and stay within your encumbrance. Um, we can go into more detail on that. We'll probably have to talk about some nuts and bolts next time before we start, would be my bet. The first adventure is relatively short. So I think the first adventure should last around 3 hours. But on the other hand, in my experience, you guys have a tendency to go off the rails a little bit.
A little bit.
That's okay. I love it. That's when the best stuff happens. All right. Um, anything else?
No,
Really
Yeah, I
looking
think
forward to
it's a
this.
lot to chew on for 2 weeks.
It is a lot to chew on for 2 weeks. Email me if you have any questions. Kyle, here's my email address. Of course, you might have it from.
Great, thank you.
Um, and yeah, mess around with that. Mess around with that dream generator using the Ink V3, because I created a bunch of portraits with it that really kind of fit the feel of the game. Like that one I showed you was this one was it took me a little bit to get the prompt right, but it was something like um, handsome handsome army American officer, or handsome American army officer with dark hair and slightly cleft chin or something like that. I don't remember exactly what I did to get there, but
That's what you want us to try to do is capture like a 3/4 view like
yeah,
that, so we
whatever
kind
you
of
want to
match.
do, if you even
Okay,
want to do it. I mean, I
of course,
don't really care.
I do want to do it. I've been doing it this whole time. I just want to match what you did, so there's some uniformity.
Yeah, no problem. Whatever you guys are happy with, I'm good. So,
Oh, and I thought I'd give you this little bit of background. My guy's name is Henry Baker.
okay,
Okay, which is the Americanized version of his real name,
okay.
Heinrich Becker.
Hence why he speaks German.
Hence why he speaks German. He's in the He was in the organized crime outfit in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Okay,
And I'm not saying which side he fought the First World War on.
that's fair. That's fair. So, and then I would recommend you read the section on the player's handbook on Majestic.
Majestic.
Yeah, any of you who are U.S. should read the player's handbook on the section, the Majestic section, and because that's going to be who you're working for. And I imagine Jim and Sharif, you guys are Sharif definitely. You're part of Section M. Because you're a spellcaster, so you're part of Section M. So if you have the player's handbook, read about Section M. And then Jim,
Okay.
with being Polish, we can move you around a little bit. You could be part of Section M, or for that matter, you don't have to be part of Section M. You could just be part of Section D, like British, Army intelligence. So I'll let you
Okay.
guys
Oh,
figure
believe
that
me,
out.
Jim's part of Section D. DNA.
Yes.
All right, cool. Well, let's adjourn.
All right.
Kyle's got to go, and we'll see everybody on the
Okay.
4th, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 Central.
Gotcha.
Marty, you knocked
Awesome.
it out of the
See you
park, though,
guys.
buddy. This is going to be so much fun. This is going to be killer.
Yeah.
Had a great time. Thanks, all you guys. Thanks, Marty.
Oh,
Really
yeah.
good stuff.
I hope it's great. I hope we have a lot of fun.
Cool.
Already having fun.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
All right, guys. See you.
All right. See you, Kyle.